Now the question is whether or not Upaj wants to play the DK or if they'll hand that to CTM. Still some flexibility in closing out. Whereas for Team D, I guess there's the possibility for a KYXY faces Void. So the
Yeah.
win condition's not going to be on Drew. Could be on... it's not going to be on the Void. It's going to be something else for Drew, and you can still maximize the chrono that way. We have seen a couple of offlane Voids. I like the prospect of that a little bit better. Just because, again, as a POS 1, your farm pace as a Void is not amazing. And you can get out-farmed rather easily. So that's one way to relieve that pressure on the faces Void. And Team D, they're going to have to watch, though, as OB.Neon still have a lot of ways to swap these lanes around.
That they do. 45 seconds reserve time left for Team D. I'll have a little bit of a think about it. Now, I highly doubt we're seeing anything like a POS 3 Void. I suppose you never know, because you and I haven't personally had the pleasure of casting Team D very much. In fact, I believe this might be the first time we've had the pleasure of casting them. And there you go. There's the Underlord coming out, so it is certainly going to be a POS 1 Void we're looking at. Underlord, not a hero we get to see very often anymore. Is it a strong hero right now, John? Do you have faith in this hero?
I haven't played Underlord on my offlane in about a year and a half. Personally, I don't feel like it's great, but in this matchup, it's pretty good. The aura is going to be nice against the Viper and the DK. The hold is pretty good to combine with your Mirana. So you've got your arrow combination to play with on the offlane. Wave clear is always nice. You can kind of drop the Firestorm in the Chrono. You can use the Chrono defensively to retreat now as well with the Dark Rift. It can work out in that sense, so it opens up some possibilities. You just worry about it kind of playing too slow. Like if you do sit back and try to just farm the jungle a bit, if you're behind, you're taking farm away from the Void, who desperately needs it. You'll take farm away from Krish down mid, who'll want to set some momentum for the team. So you do want to be more active, show up in lanes on that Underlord. You do not want it to be a more passive off lane here. It is a really good response for DK though. Like the percent-based damage on Firestorm ruins heroes like the DK who have high strength, even the Earth Spirit to a certain extent. So you can kind of take that durability away. And again, combines decently enough with the Faceless Void. Chrono plus the Pit of Malice plus the Firestorm. It's a lot of good follow-up hold and damage for the Chronosphere.
Yeah, it certainly is. Question is it going to be enough? I mean, with the Ice Blast as well, I guess you're kind of adding on to the damage, and naturally having that kind of Ice Blast passive on you going to be very effective with the Void. Team D, last pickup though. I'd like to see a bit more damage if I'm honest. I don't feel like Team D is lacking any form of control here. I think they've got plenty of that. Just maybe some more damage from Team D seems kind of necessary. Maybe someone to just set the tempo for the team, because you got this Void that wants to just sit back and farm for a while. Underlord's not necessarily a tempo setter himself. Something very active I'm looking at here for Team D.
Yeah, the big options for mid are sort of taken out. Maybe you could argue for a Quap to get some damage, and they go with a Storm instead. So that's more control, ties in nicely with the Underlord, with Mirana, with Faceless Void, you can play outside. The hold from OB.Neon's not the best. There's a lot of pressure here on the Earth Spirit to land a roll and the silence out. Maybe you could be quick with the Dragon Tail on the DK as well, but you have to be on point now. Your hold is just not the best for a Storm Spirit. Team D, Chris should be able to just zip in and out, do what he wants in this game. OB.Neon, though, they've still got that flexibility to close with. They could still just put CTM in the DK, find something mid to hold the Storm back. Perhaps one of the other Spirit Brothers could work out here. Ember is out of the pool. Void Spirit's an option if they want it for Yopaj, but we haven't seen as many Voids as you once did, and it can be a bit awkward. Like, you do have enough hold on Team D to punish something like the Void Spirit. You have to be a bit more cautious with that kind of high mobility hero here.
Oh, 43 seconds left, OB.Neon, to make this last pickup. Again, is it going to be a Page mid DK? I still think so. I think we are kind of looking for that CTM hero on the safe lane now. What are they going to go? It kind of goes back to that same issue just kind of raised, where this Storm Spirit just feels like it's going to have a free game, and they're going to go down the Wind Ranger route. So maybe not a mid DK. It might be the Yopaj Wind Ranger we're looking at, and it will be CTM on the safe lane Dragon Knight. Does this look good to you? Is it the lockdown you're looking for? Is it Is it a good matchup against the Storm, John? Was it a good pick?
Matchup against the Storm is actually not too bad. You're almost always outside range of the Remnant, and if you pop your Wind Run at the right time, you're not going to get blasted by the Overload, so you can kind of trade fairly there. In this specific lineup, I don't know if you're going to get enough damage output from the Wind Ranger, just because Focus Fire, you don't get the Ags to remove it to 0% reduction anymore. KYXY with the Ore is just going to drop that damage even lower, so getting damage through from the Focus Fire is going to be a bit tougher. You do have some good timings to hit. The Shackles is a nice way of trying to hold down the Storm, but it's just not reliable. So reliable stuns is tough from OB.Neon. The pressure is on CTM and Shanks to kind of roll in, get the Dragon Tail off real quick on Chris, and hold him back, prevent him from zipping around. Once you can get that done, it feels a lot better. Wind Ranger on hand also could force Drew to have to go for an MKB, and it's just not something Faces Voids enjoy. Like it used to be, you rush the MKB, the Void feels strong, but he just doesn't farm fast. It's just such a long process to build that farm. If you go MKB first, you're not getting good power spike with, say, a Maelstrom first rush. So the power spikes of the Void are really the awkward part of Team D's draft. Beyond that, I think they've got great synergy with the Storm, with the Underlord, with the AA, Mirana combinations. It is fairly good. They just need to find a way to give Drew that start he needs to really get rolling here.
Well, the odds are currently very heavily favored the way of OB.Neon once again, so there was a bit of a switch up after game 1, but it looks like the odds are back the way of Neon. Maybe OB.Neon just kind of 2v5 easy, nice, Facebook. What does that mean, John?
I don't know, but that means I'm going to have to check John UL or Scam posting something on Facebook again. I'll let you know if I see something, but yeah.
Yeah, let us know what's going on. You do the media search here. You figure out what Ponlo's seen. Ponlo probably shouldn't be looking at social media during the breaks as the captain of the team, but you know, you never know what's happened. So we are going to have a quick pause out. It looks like we are going to have to wait out Chris a little bit on this mid-storm.
Yeah, you know, I want to talk about Chris a bit, right? Like, he's a fairly fresh player, and I believe he's playing out of India.
Well,
right? So we don't actually see too many players in India. We used to cast ESL India.
We did?
3 years ago now. 3 years. It feels like yesterday when we were hanging out with those guys, but it's always good to see that, and Chris has been performing well. It's great to see. Let's see if he can hold that performance up, but yeah, it's been impressive so far. Even that game 2, his Timbersaw was still setting up. The Storm Spirit a lot flashier, so we'll see if he can play to that level we expect Storm Spirit players to play at.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every player on the side of Team D has been quite impressive. You know, against a team like OB.Neon, it's pretty hard to perform this well, and so far Team D they've been looking very good. This KYXY, well, Arrow's gonna be there from Destrus to make sure CTM can't get in range for the Dragon Tail, and it looks like it wouldn't even matter if he got it. They wouldn't have had the damage output. Top side, they are gonna be able to secure one bounty rune there, and they're gonna try and sneak another. So it is still gonna end up being a 2-for-2 trade for both teams. Nothing too special happening here. And while we're here, John, we may as well talk about the top lane, where it does seem like Enryu, he's going to be playing that Viper in the off lane. He'll have the support of Shanks coming in on the Earth Spirit. And of course, they are going to be playing up against Drew on the Void, and you've got Ponlo there on the AA. Regardless of whether you have the Time Walk or not, it doesn't really feel like a very easy lane here for Drew.
No, it's not going to be fun. Viper just zones you out very well, and you can just drop the Nether Toxin, clear out the first wave, get some easy CS. Not too much presence out from Ponlo. Good denies coming through from Drew, though. Does prevent Enryu from getting too much from that first wave, but it takes a while for the FV to feel comfy. Time Walk early levels have an atrocious cooldown. Shanks is just going to be allowed to get that pull off to get EXP. And there's not too much Ponlo can really do to stop that, so you're setting up for a fairly good start here for OB.Neon up top.
Certainly so. We'll see the pull away from Shanks as well on that creep wave, just probably secure his own level 2. Of course, mid lane, you've got Chris there against your Page. They were going a bit back and forth in terms of the harass. It does seem like a very even matchup thus far between the two. And I believe we kind of talked about this earlier on, but in terms of laning matchup, do you think your Page has the advantage, or do you give it over to Krish?
Again, I'd say it's relatively even. It's not a clear-cut win for either side. Your Paj is working this lane a little bit better, though. And he can just pressure a lot better with a power shot from a mile away and dodge the overload charge with Wind Run once that's up. So it's a little bit slower for Krish. He's out of regen already. He's ferrying out a bottle to just kind of compensate, and that's going to be a nice start. But your Paj already has his. And he's just playing a lot more cautious. He's not looking for the right-click trades. He's just going for power shots. And Krish can't gap close well enough to just stat Remnant and Overload harass him out.
We'll have a look at that last lane as well. Johnxfire down a bot lane, going to be there with CTM, and they are up against KYXY and Destrus. This is probably the most boring lane out of all three. I mean, there is still kill potential, right? Like, if you land a nice arrow, KYXY, he may have the damage output to burst someone down, but more than likely it's just going to be an even kind of trading lane between these two.
It's going to hold steady, and you can see KYXY doesn't even bother with a Pit of Malice in this lane. Just too much value in Firestorm and in Atrophy against a melee core. So Scam's farm can kind of take a hit. You can see that reflecting the CS 7-1. A lot slower for him compared to KYXY at 17-2, clearing out this wave really well. And once you get some levels up, once you get a value point in the Pit of Malice, that's when it can get pretty exciting on TV.
True. Caught out top lane, Enryu and Shanks, they just run him down. It's really that simple, right? Against the Void, once he's used that Time Walk, especially at these earlier levels, he can't really do much else. The Viper and Earth Spirit could just kind of roll on you and get the kill.
Yeah, just so aggressive of an off lane from OB.Neon and much more passive on TV. But Pawn Mode can't do too much to stop it. It will play aggressive with the time dilation at least, but no bashes.
No, certainly not. Shanks, he wants to roll back in onto Ponlo, and they can certainly set up for a very nice easy kill here, as long as they can keep up the vision, and it looks like they will do exactly that, as Ponlo, he's trying to run, he has a Fairy Fire, but it's not going to be enough. Enryu, he has the damage, and he'll finish the kill. Meanwhile, mid lane, Krish, he does end up dying to Yopaj. Johnxfire does make a rotation in on the Enchantress. A very impactful one at that, as they do kill off the Storm.
Yeah, it's a very, very important kill to find early as well. Slowing down the Storm's timing into 6, denying him the chance to just refill on the bottles. And that's going to give Yopaj a nice level lead. Level 5 now, has the Shackles, and every time he lands that with a power shot, it can get a bit scary. Like, the damage output of Yopaj is so much safer to pull off compared to a Storm in lane. Again, he relies on Remnant and Overload, and you don't land Remnant when you're ranged for the most part. When your matchup is ranged, and the Overload is just dodge with Wind Run.
Right. He thought about going for a bit of a chase there onto Shanks. Decides better of it. Mid lane, Chris. Oh, he's going to be in danger again. They have a great Shackles out. Yopaj locks him to the creep. He's still level 4 as well. It's just such a hard lane for this Storm. Meanwhile, bottom lane, KYXY still trying to fight CTM. Will eventually try to run. CTM, one more hit should do it. The Atrophy aura does make it kind of tough. He might need 2 now. So he is just slowly healing up at KYXY. He gives him the no with the power shot. And CTM, okay, no problem.
Oh, I love it. You know, KYXY tends to be really quiet in the lobbies, really quiet in the game, and that one moment causes him to yell no. I love it. It's just, it's the first time I've seen him all chat, and it's just all caps no. It's beautiful.
I mean, it is rather unfortunate, right? Like an Underlord versus DK lane, you don't expect a kill to happen. There you go. Maybe he was just kind of shocked that was happening. It's already an exciting game for us, but 5-0, the way of OB.Neon, definitely favoring the Radiant as the roll. Going to be right on target by Shanks. And now Johnxfire's there with the follow-up stun on Yopaj. Just snipes another.
Oh.
I question the Wind Ranger pick every time when he picks it up, but he makes it look good every time.
Oh yeah. This is probably the most active we've seen Yopaj ourselves in a game that we've casted on that Wind Ranger. Usually he just dominates mid, or at least evens out the mid, waits for the Javelin, and starts running around. This time he's taking so much activity on the map. He's forced to storm out of lane early. Krish is just forced to clear out the large camps. It's not even stacked up. His farm rate has slowed down on the Storm in a big way. They've managed to get control of the top lane as well, and you're still bullying out Drew. Drew, he needs a way to go into the jungle.
Oh, I don't think saying no is going to help you this time, KYXY. He's going to try and run, pit and malice out, but a great shackles. 5 kills already. Make that another. Enryu gets Drew on the void. Shanks, he's going to be fine. Ponlo, I can't say the same for him. A Viper's chasing him down. Enryu, he may pay for diving this deep as Chris is going to rotate and will save the day for Ponlo. And will finally pick up his first kill of the game on the Storm. And that's actually the first kill of the game for Team D.
Yeah, it's an important kill. Goes to the right here as well. Krish needs everything he can get on the Storm. He still doesn't even have his power boots. So power tread, so it's still a ways off till the Storm's fully online. But this is giving Neon so much space. Mid is just free. Drew opts to go there to try to farm up. They're sort of collapsing up top once more. Yupaj is around and he's got that javelin up.
That he does. Chris, oh, he doesn't have mana. Very, very low. Yupaj know this. He's going to just chase him down. Not throwing the shackles yet. He might just go for the power shot. Shackles power shot. It's going to be enough. Just barely. He gets him again, and now Ponlo, you just can't survive. Not with the javelin up this early. He's 6-0-1, John, on this Wind Ranger. 6 kills at 7.5 minutes.
He's just played insanely well. Again, the mid matchup is not easy for a Storm. Yupaj just really runs it down to its edge. And there's just been so much activity from OB.Neon. John Yuel's taking a more aggressive stance on the Enchanters, leaving CTM alone.
Oh,
Speaking of that bot lane, KYXY.
He's trying to get out, but there's no chance. Enryu has so much damage already on that Viper. Meanwhile, mid, they're going to zip in. They'll try to go after this Wind Ranger. She is worth a lot of gold. But Drew, he already committed the Chrono somewhere. Yupaj is still probably going to drop and does. And Chris, oh, he gives it right back to him. That's a big, unstoppable spree going the way of the Storm. And some golden XP he desperately needed on that Storm Spirit.
It's a good bounce back in. They can start to punish Neon for being this far in. John Yuel might just get caught out by Krish here.
Perhaps.
He's not careful.
Krish, hey, zips in. Doesn't have Untouchable yet. He's still level 5, so it should be a nice, easy pick-off, and Destrus will take it.
My pet loves venison.
It's the recovery process starting up for Team D. They're still needing a little bit more. I mean, while they get that done, CTM just pushes top and KYXY again.
Yeah, he's just not safe. While this Viper's around, they have so much damage. And this is a really tough time for an Underlord. I mean, he has the Hood of Defiance up as well, but the magic defense is just not anywhere near enough.
Oh, it's still ways off from being that tanky frontline Underlord, and this is the worry I had with this draft. If the Underlord starts to lag behind, he's going to have to eat some farm space. He's going to take farm space away from a Storm and a Faceless Void who are also behind. You need to find a way to get that recovery.
Oh, looks like Ponlo's gone. Snare there. He can't really run as an AA. He's just got to kind of accept the fact that he's dead, and Genuel will take it. Top lane Destrus, he's going to show up. Enryu's around. He might just have to start leaping away. Does have some teammates coming in. Krish now on that Storm Spirit might be able to set up onto CTM, and they will get started before that tier 1 tower does drop, but the arrow is way off the mark. CTM is just going to keep going after that tier 1 tower. He does get the tier 1, but they get the kill. That seems to be all the side of Team D really wanted.
Yeah, it does work out, but losing the tier 1 does mean that it's a bit harder to keep farming that top jungle. The wards from OB.Neon are already really aggressive. They can't afford to give them mid out.
Chrono, Ice Blast, Yupaj has been caught, but where's your damage? Krish, he's going to try and zip in and try to get that damage up. He's out of mana. What a great kickback. Shanks trying to save the day, but it won't be enough. Now Team D, they could keep moving forward. Genuel is going to be targeted, and he'll be the next one to drop. What an aggressive game we've had so far. 13-7 at the 10.5 minute mark. 1k net worth lead the way of OB.Neon.
Oh, yeah. It's both sides just looking for those openings, looking for the punishment. OB.Neon, you did see some issues with that Chrono. Like, it came out that the Wind Run, it just prevents any damage output from Drew and anyone else, really, even from outside of Chrono. So you have to watch yourself. You need to be able to lock it in before there's an opportunity for your punch to pop that spell. They are still playing Clump, though, and CTM's alone here.
They should be able to land a nice arrow here with the Spirit Vessel, and the Ice Blast would be more than enough. Team D, even with that terrible start, are starting to force it back their way. However, Silence is out. Boulder Smash connects. Destrus, he will die in response. Still a much more favorable trade for the side of Team D, considering they got the POS 1 DK. They should feel much happier. However, we've got to be careful. Ponlo. Oh, not KYXY, not again. Shackles is there. Power shot through. Krish, he's going to try and help out. He'll aim down the Wind Ranger. Maybe he is going to get his sweet, sweet revenge once again, and he does. He got Yapaj, just zips right away, but they lose KYXY in response. Enryu now. Ice Blast does land, but Ponlo's gone. Drew will try to fight this one out. Arrow does land. Back in onto the Vortex, onto Shanks. He can try to roll, but he's been completely blocked off. Maybe he can kill Krish. They do get him with Chen Yuel. But now Drew's going to chase him down. Untouchable is online, however. And that'll make it hard enough that they will just back out.
Yeah, and while all of that was happening, CTM just focused on the mid-tier 1. Got the Fortify to be forced out as well. Still has a lot of time in this next Dragon form. So you can just look to clear out that tower, or at least slowly chip away, but KYXY will be able to shove that wave away. Overall, 17 to 11. 1k lead still there for OB.Neon, but it's not a big lead. It's still a very even game, as Team D are going to look for a bit of a rotation with that Moonlight Shadow.
Top lane is where they're going, Yapaj. Obviously has been targeted quite a bit. Bot lane, Drew now. Taking a lot of damage. Roll going to be really on target there from Shanks. Oh, actually, he didn't go for the kill. He left Drew alone for a bit. He'll go for a roll and almost connects, but not quite. I think he wanted to give the kill to the Viper. Krish is going to go into CTM. Ice Blast does just barely land, and that should be enough to get rid of this Dragon Knight. They're going to try and fight back, but there's your Dark Rift out. KYXY. Ponlo just about to drop and does in fact. No, they cancel the Dark Rift. Cancel the taxi. Back in on Krish though. Yapaj, he wants his own revenge, though he doesn't have enough, or does he? Power shot off the mark. Shanks will roll forward onto KYXY, but they want the Storm. They won't get him. Instead, they'll have to focus on Destrus. With Destrus, he lands the arrow. It won't be enough. Not with the Starfall. Krish, he thought about going back in on the Storm, but I don't think he's feeling confident with the mana pool. He will leave him be.
Just, again, a back and forth trade coming out for OB.Neon and Team D. A 2-for-2 and overall. A bit better for Team D, as they did manage to slow down CTM. CTM on the DK actually went for the Midas. So he's going for the well, at least the Sanj. We'll have to see what else builds up. But no early blink means he does lack presence in these team fights. He doesn't get to just bring out that instant control that they might need down the line. And that is forcing OB.Neon to play basically a 4 versus 4 for the most part. Still smoke out here from OB.Neon.
Well, Shackles barely avoided there from our Storm. Ponlo TPing in just in case. Considering how well OB.Neon started, it's quite surprising Team D was able to kind of knock it back their way. Like, it's still just a 1k lead, which is quite impressive here. Because OB.Neon, they're not done. They're going to keep moving forward. Krish is not going to be their target without Yapaj around, and Yapaj, he's farming the top side of the map. As we are going to have a quick pause out. Bit of a lag issue here as Krish does disconnect. The state of the game, John, it's still just 1k. Anyone's game. And honestly, looking at the drafts, it does feel like Team D will have the better late game.
Yeah, they scale a lot better. It faces Void. Once it does get geared up, Chrono is not a spell that OB.Neon's geared to counteract. They don't have a swap, they don't have natural disarm. Since they have an Oracle, they don't have the False Promise to play with. No Winter's Curse, nothing like that to stop the Chrono from being effective. So Drew's always going to have some presence down the line. They're getting some good recovery, especially on Krish. Like, after that slow lane, he's almost got the Kaya Sanj. So the Storm's going to be a lot harder to just pin down for a long time. Even KYXY manages to finish up the pipe. So they've got some ways of blocking that magic damage coming out here, and it'll just lead to Team D being a lot harder to immediately burst. Even Ponlo manages to finish his Veiled Discord. so they can amp up their own damage as they do go for a smoke play down bot.
And Ryu, he's going to try and get started with the Rod of Atos. Shanks is there, but Krish, he's going to zip right in, trying to save the day for the Void, but they can't do it. Drew's already gone. Krish now, he'll keep fighting, try and go after Enryu. He won't have enough. Dark Rift there, KYXY, he just gets bursted down as the roll forward from Shanks for Krish. Back into the backside, does manage to kill off the Viper, but now he's out of mana. Yopaj is on the chase, and the roll is there to give the vision. This storm is going absolutely nowhere. They shackle him up, lock him down. The power shot will be enough from OB.Neon. It's a very favorable kind of team fight here from this Radiant end.
Yeah, and that breaks the lead open for OB.Neon. 3K up now. They've bought some space for CTM to keep farming up on that DK alone with Midas. And the activity is also starting to build in here for Yopaj. He's saving up for his BKB next. Already has the Ogre Axe up. Team D, they need to be a bit quicker with a Chrono, and they need to be a bit more in sync. That smoke was coming in, but Drew acted as the bait way too far front, not respecting the chain stuns coming out. If he landed the Chrono before dying, that might have ended up a little bit better for Team D, but it just cost him way more. It's OB.Neon now. They can't really transition to an objective, which is really where it's a bit lacking from OB.Neon with the DK, but they're going to start to at least poke and prod at the mid just a bit.
Drew's going to be careful. Rod of Atos. Not going to be there in time. Drew, he realized that Yopaj was looping around the tree line. They did have vision. Drew, he's still struggling with farm, but with this Maelstrom, it shouldn't take him too long to be able to catch up. He's certainly trying to get there. Because OB.Neon, they have not let down with the pressure. They're just continuously running at the side of Team D, and of course, Team D, they've got to try and play a bit more of a defensive game until they have their own net worth up. Still very, very far behind. Now, mid lane, who have they got? It's going to be Destrous. Going to be a Mirana gone. And that might be enough for OB.Neon to confidently start whacking away at that tier 1 mid.
Got the numbers advantage. They will have to watch for the Chrono. They're going to have to declump a bit going into this tier 1. But they can get that done. There's a decent creep army here from Johnuel. Just slowly chip away still.
Krish, he's going in. Yopaj, always the target. The Ice Blast. It's all going to be enough. Oh, nice bit of malice there as well as the Chrono does come out. Drew, he's got two. Do they have the damage? Onto Enryu, the Viper. Cold Feet's going to latch him in. He's gone as Drew once more, but CTM is in, and they're going to go for the counter fight now. Vortex is there, CTM. He doesn't mind too much. Dragon Tail's out. Drew's dead. Magnetized. It's still killing Krish, but he is alive. Earn is out. Genuel trying to get the damage, but it's not enough. The Dark Rift gets him out in time. Genuel, he actually missed an uphill impetus shot at Krish that would have killed him. He just got unlucky.
Just on the edge, and now does it back.
Oh, and he's going to get punished for it as well. Salt in the wound of Genuel, who, with no fault of his own, John, missed that uphill shot.
Yeah, it happens, you know. It always happens when you need it. And Team D managed to reel that lead back down to 1K, 24-17. The fight potential of Team D, if they land a Chrono with all their own heroes outside, it's just massive. Like that Firestorm rips through, the chain stun follow-up from the Pit of Malice, from the Cold Feet, it's just so much damage, so much control. They do manage to deny their mid-tier 1 as well, so the gold's not going to go the way of OB.Neon after all that effort. And they're just going to have to look elsewhere for the objectives. They do have a good spike on CTM, the blink is up on our DK. BKB coming up next. Yopaj close to his own BKB as well. So once you've got that spell immunity, it shouldn't be as awkward to be up front. You're not going to be chain stunned for too long. Okay,
XY. Yeah, he's being caught. He doesn't have Dark Rift, and the impetus damage is really starting to hurt. It's Genuel. He just went straight for a Dragonlance build-up. So those impetus shots, they are doing a lot of damage here. And I guess this goes back to the start of the game for OB.Neon. They were just so far ahead. Genuel, he could just afford to pick up a Dragonlance rather than something like a 4-star first.
Yeah, and it just gives him so much presence against heroes like the Underlord. Underlord has a lot of strength, decent amount of armor, doesn't matter against pure damage like that. So they've got a solution for that tanky Underlord now. Genuel just has to pump the damage out himself. and get that work done. Side of Team D, losing the Underlord's bad, but you're not losing your Storm. You're getting farm up and your face is void. You still have a lot more to go with Drew. Still bottom compared to all the cores here. Farm distribution is fairly even though. It's not like he's lagging too far behind, but you can see CTM's just getting a lot more. He's been rather efficient with that Hand of Midas, and he's only been punished a couple of times. The rest, he's working that map a lot better.
I'd say he is. BKB coming up next here for CTM. Got the casual Sanj for now. Bit of a smoke up, OB.Neon. Gonna start moving through that dyed triangle. The Moonlight Shadow, though, gonna make it very hard to engage, and it seems like Team D are very well aware that there is a smoke happening. In fact, they'll go for a counter smoke now. As we've seen over and over again, they love to go after that Wind Ranger first. It's most of the damage output from OB.Neon anyway, so if you can burst down your Page, you're starting to fight off in a really nice way, but unfortunately for them, they're going to have to settle with Januel. Not the target they want to start with. In fact, they won't even get him. Cold Feet is there, but it's not going to be enough. They weren't willing to commit the Ice Blast. And with that, they get nada. They get zero.
Yeah, it's Januel managed to pop the Nature's Attendants before freezing up as well. So he just healed True. And Team D, that was the smoke and the Moonlight down. A bit costly for not even finding a kill. OB.Neon's going to be happy. They're still farming on CTM, no problems. BKB inching closer now for Nat DK. Just about 700 gold off. And once that's up, that's where CTM can really start to dictate these fights, along with Yopaj. The BKBs up and running should lead to them only having to worry about Chrono, which is back up on Drew. He's got the SNY. He's saving up for the Scotty next. He is starting to be pretty scary on the Face's Void. They just need to find the opportunity to use that Chrono once more.
We'll wait it out for now. Patience here from Team D. OB.Neon, they'll be quite patient themselves. I think both teams, well, I was about to say both teams are out of smokes, but Polo just buys one out of the shop, and, well, OB.Neon, they just casually walk into the Roshan pit and get it started. Ice Blast is going to give vision, though. It's going to make it a little bit more challenging to take the Roshan, but I say that. You've got a DK to tank all the damage, you don't mind. Can they make it, though? Krish, he's in! He's got the Aegis! Oh, Krish, what a steal! Oh, they give him the tip immediately. He should be able to get out of this if the Dark Rift is there, but no, a nice roll in. Shanks. Oh, they get him. Just in time as your Page will tip him as well. That is a really nice steal, though.
That really was. He got the kill as well, so the gold goes the way of Team D. Neon got nothing out of that, but killing off the Storm is still pretty nice. So I don't think Neon's going to mind all too much. They still kill off the Storm. They kill off the AA beforehand. They're not too bad of it. And they would have loved the Aegis to really start sieging more objectives, though, and that's going to set them back a bit. The Ags is up on CTM. He did shift away from BKB, so he's got the Black Dragon very early on. And that does mean better damage output and better siege if they can reach the tower soon. So far, not quite clumping up for that commitment as Team D. They still hold on to the Chrono on Drew, and they do Moonlight Shadow up here.
Krish hasn't spotted anyone out to zip on yet. Ponlo, he still holds that smoke and they're about to pop it. BKB up, definitely time to go. It's gonna be much harder to burst down this storm as they have been doing. This BKB up is, oh, your Page, Invis Rune active, but it's about to wear off. He breaks the smoke, he's gonna run the other way, but the sentry's down. They see him, and there's your Chrono out now. With the Ice Blast, they've got the Wind Ranger. A massive, massive start for Team D is OB.Neon. They can't respond without him.
Yeah, just wave forward from your Page. really good timely scan coming out from Team D as well to help them figure out as their smoke broke. And
They're gonna try. Ponlo might be targeted. No, they'll go after KYXY, but Krish is in with that BKB and the arrow from a large distance. They've locked down the Viper. I don't know about this team fight for OB.Neon. It's not looking great. Shanks, he'll be chased down by Krish. He should be dealt with. Meanwhile, CTM, well, actually, Januel, he's the main problem right now. The damage up, but onto KYXY. He'll get himself out of there. As they did end up also finding Shanks on that Earth Spirit. So in the end, a 3-for-1 trade, I believe it was. Still a very good team fight for Team D. OB.Neon, they really can't afford to lose their Wind Ranger like that.
yeah, the Apaj has to be so much more careful about where he goes into in that enemy jungle by himself. They'll commit everything. If they find that kill with Chrono, you're more than happy, and Team D manages to get a lot from that last engagement. Lead of OB.Neon down to 2k, as a really great BKB reveal as well from Krish to ensure that he did manage to get those kills going. Aside of Neon, I think they're going to need a couple of BKBs of their own. BKB for Enry still a ways off, but they will smoke. They know Chrono is down. They can make something happen here.
If they can, and they're going to try. Yapaj, they'll run into Ponlo. He'll break the smoke. CTM, though, is there with the Dragon Tail, and they'll just lock him down and take him out. Not quite the target OB.Neon wants. Just a Pos 5 AA kill. I don't think they're really going to be able to capitalize with any objectives.
DM? CTM?
Oh, CTM? He stuck around.
Yeah.
Well, that's problematic. That's your Pos 1 DK going down.
He went to the lane, he wanted to farm, he did not respect Team D's maneuverability and got punished. A nice pickup for Team D. They only lost their AA for that, basically, so favorable trade. OB.Neon, they can't afford to stream in one by one like that. We saw Yapaj die by himself, DTM now. They still have some time before Chrono's back up, so they could look to make a play once more onto Drew here.
Gonna try. Chrono's up in 5 seconds. This is a very dangerous time as the arrow not gonna land, but they'll have the vortex to follow up onto Januel. It's gonna take them a bit of time to get the kill, but they'll get it eventually. And now you've got Chrono up for Team D. So you could just keep going for another fight if you really want. I mean, at least the next fight should look pretty darn good for Team D and OB.Neon. I mean, they are starting to fall apart. 1k net worth lead, but that's going down from around 5k. And again, this draft, I just don't think it'll scale as well as what Team D has.
Now, I'd argue it's already sort of hit a bit of a plateau right now. The progression for Yapaj is slowing down. He's got the blink up, but you can see he's the bottom network core now. He just hasn't had time to farm. He can't really farm all too well. His kill opportunities, it's been nice, but he's been dying a little bit more recently as well, so it's just not lining up. Mid-tier 1 set to fall to Team D. They still are clumped around. Again, that Chrono is still up. If someone does come out, Drew's just going to commit.
May as well, but nobody is going to show themselves. The Dark Rift back up to the back up at the top lane, it seems. They've spotted CTM. So Dark Rift to the top lane. CTM, he may not be expecting this, and there's your Vortex. Ice Blast right on target. They are trying to help out with Shanks, but is it going to be enough? Probably not. Drew is gone. Or rather, CTM's gone. Drew gets the kill. Shanks. Well, he will be able to TP. They won't commit the Chrono for that. But they got a massive kill on CTM. OB.Neon. They're moving in.
Oh.
Not sure about this. Shackles is there. They've got Krish. The follow-up roll-up is there. They do get the kill on the Storm. Drew didn't really have enough time to get the Chrono out, and now Yapaj, he's got another Shackles there. They get the arrow onto Januel, but KYXY has been targeted on this Underlord. He'll try for a TP. There's a roll in to cancel. A nice Shackles locks down both of them. Drew's still fine. He'll commit the Chrono, but KYXY is gonna die. Still an Ice Blast. Shanks is down. However, Januel in the backside, just getting so much damage out with these impetus shots. Another great Shackles as well on the neutral crypt from Yapaj. Even without their DK, they just keep turning it.
Yeah, they managed to turn that really well. Team D not finding that opportunity for the Chrono. I think if they don't land it on Yapaj, then it all really falls flat. The Yapaj is just a lot of their control with the Shackles. a lot of their damage with a focus fire flying through. And they just couldn't find that angle. Drew just didn't see the opportunity to use that spell. And they got caught off guard. You need to respect Yopaj's control a bit more. As long as he's there, as long as he can dictate how these fights break up, then he can do a ton of work on this Wind Ranger. He does go for the focus fire damage reduction as well, knowing that he needs to pump out that damage for his team. So it's down to a 14% reduction on the Wind Ranger, which is really nice. And almost 100% once you have enough damage, it doesn't feel like you're missing out on too much. Team D, well, with Chrono down, they're going to have to take it easy for a bit more. The Roche will respawn we'll see when it respawns in about 10 seconds. So that's going to be the next time to hit. BKB up on Skem means that the DK is not going to be as easy to burst down, which is great news. He did delay that BKB for the Ag Scepter. As OB.Neon, knowing Chrono's down, well, they're going to smoke up again.
If they are, why the hell not? With that dire triangle they go. Loop around, back into the other jungle, lines being drawn out.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
It's not easy to go up that high ground as Destrus is going to be there to break the smoke. And Ryu going to have his smoke broken. Rod of Atos is out, however, and they should have enough to at least get Destrus. This little kill there on the Mirana, but because if you are the side of Team D, you're kind of happy it was just the Mirana. Problem is though, the mid tier 2 is going to drop because of this. And OB.Neon, they're going for a fight up top lane. Peter Malice is there, but Yopash is in with the shackle onto Drew, but he's taken no damage. He's perfectly fine, and they should be able to just Dark Rift out of there. Ponlo, he may not make it, and he won't. Just barely going down. Everyone else, they'll be fine. CTM, unable to get the stun in time.
Yeah, it's on the edge, but OB.Neon does manage to eke out the win, and the Roshan's up. They get the transition to Roshan number 2. Aegis, Cheese, Ag Shard for the taking here. Chrono is back up for Team D, but they don't have their outpost TP through anymore, so they don't have the angle to come and contest, and that's going to be a freebie here for OB.Neon.
Another Roshan. The last time around we had the Krish, Aegis still, and Roshan still, but this time it won't be coming. What may be coming, however, is a team fight. Zip, CTM, again he's alone. Every time. His team's well and truly backed off after Roshan, and the CTM, he's stuck in that dire jungle.
Yep. OB.Neon's done this a couple of times now on Yopaj, mainly on CTM. Gets punished. Did not have the Aegis, which is actually a benefit. I think if he died with the Aegis, he'd be dead anyway again, so at the least it's on someone that can use it. Yopaj can be alive and healthy. There's a full minute without that
there's
DK.
A cheese. There's a cheese in the pit.
Oh, they left it again. Nice.
They,
What's up with people leaving cheese?
Maybe it was for CTM. Maybe they were just kind of like, hey, the cheese is in the pit, you get it later. Farm that camp and just run down south and get it. We'll see which team realizes it's there first. It's always the cheese. Every time.
It's always. Yeah.
They need to buff
I
it
don't
or
know
something.
why. They need to make it size big. Make it feel good to pick it up, you know?
I think it does need a buff though, quite frankly. In fact, never mind that for now. Teamfight might just break out as OB.Neon. They are posturing. And, tower's already gone. Team D, they're thinking about turning around now. Paj, Shackles. Destrus will just leap away. That'll be it. Team D, they don't want to borrow this.
I'll be glad to report as well, Mike, that the cheese has gone to John Uwella.
Okay.
He managed to scout it out with his creep. He picked it up. So he is rewarded, and he passes it to Enryu. I wouldn't pass it on. You're the finder's keepers, John Uwella. You want the cheese. I know you do, buddy. I know you.
I mean, I wouldn't blame Genuel for holding it. Like, he's doing a lot of damage in these team fights.
I mean, he's got the BKB. He's basically transitioning slowly to a core position here. Enryu's kind of faded off. Like, he's got the Ag Shard. So the poison attack to lower armor is pretty darn nice. Affecting buildings makes the siege a little easier once they can approach that high ground. There's some utility there, but yeah, I think the Enchantress is already very hard to kill. With a cheese, you have to do it twice, and you're gonna run out of spells at some point.
Certainly. Still OB.Neon. Take their time. Just hang around that top side of the map. They've got the Aegis. You might just want to wait on your Page to finish off that MKB first before you get going. So CTM's going for his own overwhelming blink as well, but that's going to take a lot longer than the MKB will.
Dire's top tower.
Just go after that T2 top for now. They'll reveal their position.
Dire's top
Team D,
tower
they're doing the exact opposite, of course, just on the other side of the map. And it looks like they're going to try and settle for that bottom tier 2. The thing is, if you're OB.Neon, you don't need to back. You could just go straight after that tier 3 tower and force Team T to come back. But no, they're going to TP back straight off the bat
Dire's top tower.
to deal with that mid creep wave.
Dire's structures.
At least your
This
Pages.
is your Page alone. I mean, if they actually know that the Wind Ranger's alone, they could try to jump. They're going for a tier 2 trade down bot TP from Enryu to defend, at least.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Looks like Genuel's just kind of going to be left behind here. Krish will go ahead and try to set up a nice easy kill, and well, arrow doesn't actually connect, so Genuel, he can buy some time. He pops his BKB. He's going to try and really buy a lot of time, as Drew can still bash him through that. CTM's around. Maybe they turn this. Yopaj is running his way back up, I believe, as they do finally get the enchantments, but no, not yet.
Oh, the
Yopaj
vortex.
is in. A lot of damage. Genuel's gone now. Ice Blaster's flying as well. CTM, there's your chrono out. Drew going to lock him down through the BKB, and they should be able to get another, and they do. Maybe it wasn't such a great idea to try and turn that.
No, not for the Chrono. They were really clumped up for it, and they did not expect that Ags on Krish. He just makes great work with that Vortex, setting up for his team. Zip forward, no mana. But Yopaj is still in a dangerous spot. Does blink out in time, but that's still a huge loss for OB.Neon. No buyback on Skem. He's gone for a minute. Gives an opportunity for Team D to look for more.
Anyway, XY. Dark Rift out. They shouldn't have the damage in time, and they won't. Makes you wonder. But Max Dark Rift now, definitely a lot faster than it used to be. He'll be right. Still a 6k net worth lead for OB.Neon. Like, it has really been going up and down, but it is still favoring their side. Just feels like they need one good team fight to be able to get that first lane of barracks, but it just seems like they falter every time they get close. As top side, they got the Viper. Enryu, he's gone. The Ice Blast, there's no way of saving him. Well, Yopaj going to try and trade. He's jumped into a lot of heroes here, but with the BKB, he'll keep up the chase. Meanwhile, Destrus will just leap away, as now Krish, he wants to go back in. A nice Vortex. He's got the big one. He's got the Wind Ranger on Yopaj. That was a very, very risky play to make. And of course, he does get punished for it.
Yeah, Neon just sometimes goes for these plays that just don't have great payoffs. Like, the outpost was gone. He comes in anyway. He tries to help out. His Viper just immediately died. Enryu also used his BKB charge right as he died. That was his 9-second charge down to 8. So not the best first use of the Viper BKB. Team D, they're 3k behind, but we're at 39 minutes in. That's not a huge gap. All their farm is riding on Drew's Face's Void, and it's paying off. He's got the Flicker in the backpack. He's running with a Trickster's Cloak first for that evasion. He's pushing into the high ground by himself.
Mid lane.
Scotty's up.
Shanks is gone. While that's happening, Drew's just pushing out the bot lane by himself.
Yeah. He's got the Scotty. He's got the stats. There's nothing to stop him right now with no Wind Ranger. And he's going to have Chrono in 10 seconds. There's just no response here from OB.Neon. CTM's just farming up top. He knows he can't do anything without his teammates.
Uh-oh, and it's rewind time, John. Drew buys the shards. Suddenly got that rewind button. Will Smith would be proud. As they move in for that bot racks. They'll be able to get it, and I think they just go for another, right? Like, you've still got the Chrono. You've got every ulti up. And OB.Neon, they may be on their last legs here.
Yeah. And you're at the situation where you do have buyback on CTM, you do not have one.
There you go, your punch. You're trying to get it started. BKB is there, though. Drew's going to survive as the Chrono is out. It's a big Chrono on your Page. They get the kill. CTM, there's no buyback on the Wind Ranger. They'll keep trying to fight this one out. Are they going to be able to do it? Ponlo, he might just drop, and it looks like he will. They'll keep the chase up onto Krish, but he should just be able to zip away now. He's been kicked around the map, stunned around. BKB's there. What is Vortex as well? He will barely survive as Drew actually ends up dying to Enryu. And roll. Oh, they won't get him. So somehow Drew ends up dying. He's got no buyback. Enryu gets that job done himself. They don't have Yopage, but they might be able to try and force a high ground attempt here, OB.Neon. If they could.
This is actually really big. No buyback on Drew means there's no defense.
Ponlo stunned up. BKB, or rather Minotaur Horn popped by CTM. Vortex is there to try and buy some time. Arrow as well as the Ice Blast. They got Shanks and they've got CTM. They turn around, but here comes Enryu. He'll try to get it done himself, but he just can't. He can't lock them down. Instead, he'll use the poison attack with the shards. Start getting that tower damage out. They might actually be able to get this mid-racks. Just with these two. But they've got to be very wary of Krish, who has the fountain to continue resetting it.
Yeah, it's still really annoying, especially that Vortex
Arrow.
through and the Arrow.
Arrow does land. They are already so darn low, but Januel, he pops his BKB. He'll try to man up, and with the impetus shots, look at the damage output. Yopage now, he's back into this. Shackles, though, goes back the other way, but it won't matter because this Enchantress just gets the damage out. Are they going to go for more? Surely not. They will back.
Oh, it looked terrible when they lost CTM in the front line, but Enryu gets the work done for his team. 4K lead riding now on Neon. No buybacks, and the Tree Hero is dead on Team D, but Drew's back up. Next Roshan is coming up soon, 7 seconds away, and that is going to set the pace. Both sides are going to probably look for the Rosh, if not fight around the Rosh, before moving on to the high ground once more. And that puts OB.Neon in a bit of an awkward spot. They're not respawning in time. Drew's going to go in. He does not have Chrono, but he should still be able to get work done on the Rosh. And that is a refresh Rosh. So double Vortex, I think, is what you might want to look for. Double Chrono is nice and all, but the Vortex has been much more consistent from Krish, and he's able to keep himself safe anyway. So lots of options here for Team D. No response out from OB.Neon. They get the scan, but it's much too late.
See what happens. No, they are going to get the double Chrono. Oh, Vortex in. He's got Enryu. Hidden Malice is there. You've got the Chrono up, and he gets a two-man Chrono, but Yopage, he gets out of there. Focus Fire's out on the Underlord, but they'll go after Ponlo first. They get the AA down. Buybacks are immediate from Enryu on the Viper, and the Dark Crypt is there to get everyone else out. So Ponlo's down without buyback. They do have the Aegis, they have the Refresher, they have the Cheese on the side of Team D. They didn't lose any of those, and I think they'll have plenty of time to buy Ponlo to respawn.
Yeah, it's only a minute. It's not the longest.
And there's... Who's getting the Relic? I thought Krish may take it, because, you know, Vortex plus the added Disable, but I guess Flicker's just way too good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice in the Storm. Just that self-dispel, and of course the safety net, and a move speed. Like, you can kind of just work yourself around the map a lot quicker, even without your ball lightning. Reposition a bit faster as well. Being really safe, though, not getting the double damage. Yopage gets to bottle it up then. So it's a nice DD now for that Wind Ranger at 25. That's where it gets a bit dicey. If Yopage can just get a good focus fire off with the DD up and running, that could really turn the team fight here for the side of OB.Neon. So Team D, they need to play around now. They need to use this Aegis aggressively, try to take the win, and try to force OB.Neon in an awkward spot. Right now, there's no buyback for Enryu, no buyback for CTM. If you kill either of these heroes, you have the big numbers advantage for the high ground.
Dota Plus win probability actually is still favoring Team D. 75% their way now, so it's giving OB.Neon 25% chance to win out this game 3 and proceed through the upper bracket playoffs for these closed qualifiers as top lane. I thought they may have been trying to go. They won't.
You gotta love how well Johnnyworld's doing up front.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got the Paladin sword with some lifesteal and spell lifesteal. Always nice to have. He's got the full Hurricane Pike up, so he can artillery barrage from a mile away. They will go for an offensive Dark Rift here. Oh,
Uh-oh.
Chris and Ponlo missed the taxi.
Whoopsie. Taxi left. 3 stars. Maximum. Oh, CTM, no.
Oh,
No,
he has-
not again. He has help around this time, but they are still trying to make their way over. The whole team is not here either, but Yopaj
Oh,
is.
shackle.
A great double shackles out. CTM, he's going to try and run. Look how massive this dragon was. Still, they've got him now. Chrono's there. They've called 3. Ice Blast as well. The zip through to the backside with the Vortex
Oh.
follow-up. Oh, it's perfect.
My
Can they go for more? You've got to go high ground now. You've got the Refresher shot up on Drew. You've got the Aegis still there. No buyback on Shanks. They've got to try and make this happen now, Team D.
Oh, Krish? Yopash?
Oh, Yopaj? Krish? He has no
No mana.
mana. Vortex, Yopaj, he's not going to be able to chase as Drew does TP back. You've got that refresh, but Shackles is going to lock him down, Yopaj. He's going to force the refresh and run, gives him a kiss and just gets the hell out. And he ruins the push. Because of the TP back, Drew did not push in through the bot lane. That might cost Team D.
They still have the TP out from Krish back to the bot though, so they could still look for the kills. Enryu's only, Enryu and Yopaj are the only ones left in the base. If they get a good Vortex off, they can still look to play mid-wave, start to shove in with Drew. That is buying enough time for the respawns to be here. CTM's gonna be up and running fairly soon, and that DK with all the strength he has, it takes a while for Team D to actually kill him off, so we'll have to really try to work this one fast.
Drew will get to work. Now he's just jumped in. Henry is going to be targeted. Shackles, though, will delay things. The Vortex, Yopaj, she avoids it with the blink. Drew's back in on Henry, but he rewinds.
Tower is under attack.
I guess you've always got that safety net now. And they aren't going to go all the way. The respawns are too low now on the side of OB.Neon, and they don't want to risk throwing this game. This is probably going to mean, though, the Aegis will expire. And if you're Team D, you may feel it's safer to just wait out the next Roshan. Or maybe it's a fake back. But no, it doesn't seem that way.
No, KOXY is all the way up top,
Krish?
and they still hold a chrono though.
Krish is looking for an opportunity, but there goes your Aegis and your Yopaj. He times it very well as Ponlo. He'll avoid the shackles, and now your Vortex is there. Ice Blast, Arrow, and all land Yopaj. He's gone. He'll have buyback. He may need to pop it ASAP as Shanks. He's gone. CTM, he's blinked in. He's trying to fight. He gets Ponlo. But now you've got this Void on you, Drew. He won't fight with those buybacks committed. They're going to back off. There's a DD rune. Who wants to pick it up? Drew takes it. He can try to turn. CTM, he's in on the Mirana. Genuel, he's going to get to work. Now they're rolling, but there's your Chrono. It's caught 3 of them. Do they have the damage output? This DK, he's dropping way too fast. The CTM's gone. No buyback available. Destrus will buy back now. They'll try to push this one a little bit further. KYXY, meanwhile, has been left behind. Drew, he'll try again. He'll try to jump in on Enryu, but the Aeon Disc is going to keep him safe, so he won't die quite yet. But here comes Krish. Back in onto Yopaj. They know he doesn't have the buyback. The Aeon Disc is going to save for now. He's back into the Roshan pit though. BKB popped. Krish, he's out of mana. He can't keep up the chase. Destrus, meanwhile, never mind him. It's Henry who's in trouble, but Yopaj, what a shackles with the blink. He gets away again. They just can't kill this Wind Ranger. Instead, it's back onto Januel. There's 4 heroes now without buyback. And Team D, they may have done it, John. This is game 3 of the upper bracket. There's only 1 hero up on OB.Neon for the next 50 seconds. It's just Yopaj versus the world.
Oh yeah, and this is not the position OB.Neon wants to be in. The Team D can't get megas, but they can just look to end the game. The rest of the team have to join Drew though. Looks like they are just going to try to focus on the top tier 2, maybe look to go for the megas in the end. But I think you just go for the ending here. You just go for the end game. Drew's going to clear out mid.
They seem very unsure.
Playing it clear. I think they're worried about buybacks, but if the buybacks were there, they would have already blown them. Respawn's coming up soon for CTM as well. Yopaj is... He took a lot of hits from Krish in trying to clear out the bot wave. The megas will eventually come, but at least CTM's going to be here to help now.
Yeah. You're going to have Shanks up at 20 as well.
Radiant's
Jump
top
in.
tower has fallen.
It's like Drew's just having a look to see if he can find the Wind Ranger.
Radiant's are under attack.
So you've almost got a guaranteed Megas.
Radiant's top barracks
They don't go for the game end.
top barracks.
But now they will. They're going to try and force it. They know they've still got time without Enryu for another 40 seconds. And with that rewind, it just feels like he's always going to be safe unless they can lock him down long enough. And I've had a lot of trouble doing that against Drew on this Void. But he's not going to commit all the way. Mega's up. They can play it safe. Team D, they'll take their time.
Yeah, they can just wait out. We're going to see the Roche respawn timer now. So if it's a quick one, it's going to be big. And it is a quick one. 30-second respawn on a Roche. Team D is going to look to take that before going on to high ground. OB.Neon has the opportunity to play there. They don't have vision, they don't have control, but if they somehow sneak their way to the Roche, force the fight, and somehow catch Drew out, and it could be one way to turn this game on its head. Just a very hard set of conditions to meet, and Team D, they're not going to wait. They're actually just going to smoke.
Shadows.
If only they knew how close that Roshan was. 3 seconds away now. OB.Neon. This could be their last ditch attempt. Krish, he's in. CTM again, going to be caught alone. Can they burst him down in time? No, the Minotaur Horn is there. The Ice Blast passive is still on him though. Chrono, not going to be thrown out. Drew, wait another moment. Whichever team checks out that Roshan pit now will find themselves a lovely surprise. All 4 items are there on Roshan. But unfortunately for OB.Neon, they've got a base to defend. So it seems like they're just kind of stuck waiting for Roche to be taken by Team D.
Yeah, and this is going to be big. The free Ags blessing is going to be huge. The refresh on the Chrono once more for Drew. Also going to help out the cause. It's tough. OB.Neon, they had a decent enough time early on. It was back and forth, but this might be it. There's still no buybacks available. They do spot out creeps trying to go for the deny, but not going to be able to make it in time. The Ags, who they hand the blessing to?
I think Krish accidentally ate it. Did he know?
No.
Who's got it?
It's on Drew. He got the Ags
Okay.
blessing.
Oh, that's actually quite nice.
Yeah, the time lock bash on wind jump forward's great. Look at that. Beautiful. And he can just back off if it doesn't go right.
You'll love to see it. This could be the last ditch team fight. OB.Neon, they need to defend. Enryu. It's just so hard with that rewind. It really is so challenging to kill off this Void. And he can just keep... Oh, wait a minute. They've got a Hex out. Januel, he had the side device, and now the lockdown with the shackles. They might have enough to get through the first life. But no, he can't walk away. And now the Chrono. He's got 3 heroes in it. He'll go straight after Shanks first. He'll ignore Yopaj, instead going after the Earth Spirit. Of course, there's no buyback available. Onto Shanks, but oh, what a shackle! Yopaj, he locks them both down again. They've got the side device out. They've got the stuns as well. Maybe they've got enough for Krish. He'll vortex to Yopaj. They've got the Wind Ranger now. They've got it down with that buyback. Now the refresh is there. Another Chrono available. Drew, he throws it out. He's got every single person on the side of OB.Neon. This will be it. GG's called, and Team D, against all the odds, will be able to go through the upper bracket against OB.Neon.
Jeez, what a way to close out. Drew closing with that rampage. Team D just playing their minds out. It looked a bit rocky early on. They weren't getting as much as you'd like. Ponlo giving the shout out to Leon Arthur Dota, their manager slash coach.
Of course.
OB.Neon. Game 1 was pretty one-sided coming out there. Like, Team D managed to play really clean. Game 2, the OB.Neon that we knew seemed to have gotten back in, and Game 3 was very even. A lot of back and forth fights. If you can look at the graph, it was just bouncing around. OB.Neon had the lead early on, but then they just got punished. Like, they weren't finding the kills they wanted. The scaling of Faces Void was just a lot better than the scaling of a Wind Ranger and DK. The win condition for OB.Neon just wasn't that clear. Like, Wind Ranger is a great hero early to mid. Late game scaling isn't amazing. DK as well has limits to what it can do, whereas Team D, once the Ags was up for Krish, he just zips in, found all the heroes he wanted. His early game was pretty bad. Like, Yopaj definitely won out in that lane matchup, but he got the space he needed, his team bought him time, and he just delivered once he had the items up.
It was a great match overall. Obviously, 3 games here between OB.Neon and Team D. Of course, to any Neon fans, they're not out of it quite yet. They've just been knocked down to the lower bracket, where they will have to verse somebody. We don't know exactly who it's going to be yet, but we'll find out their matchup.
496.
Oh, it
right?
is 4.
Like
You are
496 to
correct.
drop, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Meanwhile, Team D, they are going to go on to verse GXR, which is going to be a pretty hype matchup between those two. Obviously, from today, we saw GXR. They look like they're in form. They look fantastic. Should be a rather hard matchup for Team D, but we said the same about OB.Neon, and well, you saw the result now, so let's just wait and see what happens then. For now, though, that is all the games for the LootBet Pro Series Season 7 closed qualifiers for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow for some more great closed qualifier games. But till then, it's MLP Dota and JohnXFire. See you all again tomorrow night.